So what if the absolute biggest mistake you're making in life,
Okay.
especially when you're like desperately trying to help someone or fix a bad habit,
Hmm.
what if the mistake is telling them the absolute literal truth?
I mean, it sounds completely counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yes,
Because
yes.
we're all conditioned to believe that, the truth will set you free.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes that unfiltered, blunt truth is, it's exactly what keeps people totally trapped. And to really understand why, you have to look at the actual mechanics of human defensiveness.
Which is exactly what we're getting into today. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone.
Glad to be here.
So today we are cracking open an ancient Buddhist scripture, specifically chapter 3 of the Lotus Sutra, which is profoundly influential.
Oh, incredibly.
And hidden right inside this text is this legendary parable. It reveals this mind-bending, highly practical hack for dealing with just, stubborn human psychology.
Yeah.
It basically breaks down why what looks like skillful deception might actually be the absolute highest form of compassion.
And it's just a phenomenal piece of literature because it doesn't just preach at you, right? It literally dissects the human mind.
Yeah.
But to really grasp it, we need to drop right into the historical and narrative context of the text. So we're entering a scene of just dramatic, almost existential realization.
Okay. Set the scene for us.
Right, so there's a senior student named Shariputra, and he is basically considered the smartest guy in the room, the wisest of the disciples.
Like star pupil.
Exactly. And he is having this massive aha moment because for a long time, Shariputra has just been beating himself up. He was tormented by this thought that he and the other students had somehow, missed out on the ultimate truth.
Like they were stuck with the budget version of enlightenment.
Yeah, a lesser fragmented version.
He literally says in the text that he spent days and nights reprimanding himself. He felt like he was actively deceived by his own teacher.
Which is wild.
I mean, imagine being the star pupil and walking around with that level of imposter syndrome, just thinking the universe shortchanged you.
It's deeply relatable, honestly, that internal torment. But then the Buddha drops a prophecy that totally shatters Shariputra's anxiety.
Oh, wow. What does he say?
The Buddha announces that Shariputra will eventually become a supreme Buddha himself.
Okay.
He even gives him a title. He calls him Flower Glow Tathagata.
Wait, I want to pause on that word for a second, Tathagata.
Sure.
Because it tops up a lot in these texts. But
Yeah.
what does it actually mean here?
So it's an honorific title for a Buddha, and it roughly translates to one who has thus gone, or one who has arrived at the truth.
Oh, okay.
It basically signifies someone who has completely transcended the cycle of suffering. They see reality exactly as it is. So by calling Shariputra Flower Glow Tathagata, the Buddha is essentially saying, hey, you haven't missed the boat.
You're going to make it.
Right. You are going to arrive at the ultimate destination.
Yeah.
He even says Shariputra will rule over this pristine, jewel-adorned realm called free from defilement.
Wow.
Yeah, a place with, grounds made of lapis lazuli and trees made of 7 precious gems.
I mean, that brings immense relief to Shariputra, obviously.
Oh, totally.
But it also prompts him to ask the really big, inciting question of this whole chapter.
Yes.
He essentially says, wait, if the ultimate goal was always this grand, supreme, cosmic enlightenment, why did you originally teach us a lesser, simpler version of the truth?
It's such a good question.
Right. Why give us the basic framework if this spectacular cosmic reality was the actual destination all along?
It's the perfect setup. And to answer Shariputra's question, the Buddha doesn't just, give a dry theoretical lecture.
Thankfully.
Instead, he tells one of the most famous and gripping stories in all of Eastern philosophy, the parable of the burning house.
It is an incredible story. It literally plays out like an ancient thriller.
It really does. So, the Buddha describes this wealthy, powerful, elderly father who owns a massive, sprawling mansion.
Okay.
He has endless riches, countless servants, storehouses full of treasure, but the house itself is ancient.
Right, it's falling apart.
Exactly. The pillars are rotting at their bases, the walls are crumbling, the roof is caving in, the beams are dangerously tilted, and then suddenly,
Chaos.
absolute chaos. A catastrophic fire breaks out. Flames erupt simultaneously on all sides of this massive
A
estate.
towering inferno.
Yeah.
But here is the crazy tension. Inside this rotting, burning mansion are the man's children.
Right.
The text says there are 10, 20, maybe 30 kids inside. and they have absolutely no idea they're in danger.
None at all.
They're just totally absorbed in their games, running back and forth, completely oblivious to the flames closing in around them.
Yeah.
They don't even know what the concept of fire is, or what ruin means. They're just playing.
They are totally consumed by their toys and their immediate gratification, even as the walls are literally burning down around them.
But hold on a second, because I read this part and immediately thought, if the father is so powerful and wealthy, and
yeah.
he clearly loves his kids, right? Why doesn't he just kick the door down and physically carry them out?
Like, he's described as having immense physical strength. Why is he standing outside debating strategy while his house is literally on fire?
See, that is the exact question the text anticipates. It's so smart. The father actually considers using brute force.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he thinks about gathering them up in his robes or like grabbing a table to shield them and physically dragging them out. But he realizes the architecture of the situation makes that impossible.
How so?
The house has only one extremely narrow exit, and the kids are running around frantically. They are totally attached to their playthings.
Right, and if he walks in and says, hey guys, the house is on fire, we need to evacuate, they just look at him blankly.
Exactly. They don't have the vocabulary for the danger.
They don't know what fire is.
Right. If he tries to lecture them about the reality of the fire, they won't listen. They lack the context to understand it.
Wow.
And worse, if he tries to physically force them, they might panic. They might resist, stumble directly into the flames while trying to fight him off.
Oh, truth without packaging or force without understanding is actually lethal in this scenario.
So forcing reality on them would literally get them killed.
Exactly.
Realizing that blunt reality won't work, the father pivots. He uses this brilliant psychological trick.
He really does.
He knows exactly what his kids love. He knows their desires inside and out.
Yeah.
So he yells into the house that he has left incredibly rare, amazing toys waiting for them right outside the gate.
He promises them 3 specific things. He yells that there are goat carts, deer carts, and massive ox carts waiting outside for them to play with.
And it works flawlessly.
Like a charm. Hearing this, the children immediately drop what they're doing. They push each other out of the way, sprint through that single narrow door, and make it to the safety of the open square outside.
They escaped the flames entirely because they were motivated by something they already wanted.
Exactly.
But this brings up the massive twist of the story.
Oh, the best part.
So the kids get outside. The fire is raging behind them, and they are totally safe. They turn to their dad and demand their specific goat and deer carts.
Right, where's my toy?
You promised. But the father doesn't give them what he promised. Instead, because he has limitless wealth and loves them equally, he gives every single child the exact same thing.
And what he gives them is magnificent. It's a gigantic carriage drawn by a massive, powerful white ox.
Wow.
The carriage is decorated with rare jewels, golden ropes, bells, luxurious silk cushions. I mean, it is far beyond anything they could have ever imagined or asked for.
So it's like promising your kid a basic tricycle, just so they don't get run over by a car in the street.
Yeah.
But when they safely get to the sidewalk, you hand them the keys to a solid gold Ferrari.
That is a brilliant modern equivalent, yes. And this brings us to the philosophical revelation of the text.
Okay.
The Buddha uses this exact scenario to explain his own teaching method to Shariputra.
The big reveal.
Right. The Buddha asks him, did the father lie? Did he deceive his children by promising them goat and deer carts, only to give them something else entirely?
But I want to challenge this because, I mean, in almost every ethical framework we have today, lying to your kids is a breach of trust.
Yeah.
He is actively running a bait and switch. How does the text justify the Buddha essentially running a con, even a well-intentioned one?
It comes down to the hierarchy of compassion versus rigid truth. Shariputra answers the Buddha by saying, no, he didn't lie in a malicious sense.
Because he saved them.
Exactly. Saving their lives alone justifies the method. The father didn't deceive them to exploit them, he deceived them to rescue them. And then he gave them something infinitely better than what he originally promised.
Okay, that makes sense.
This introduces a core concept in Buddhist philosophy called upaya.
Upaya. Let's break that down because it feels central to everything we're talking about today.
It really is. The term upaya translates to skillful mean or expedient means. It's the idea that a teacher can use whatever methods, metaphors, or, temporary truths are necessary to help a student reach enlightenment.
Like a tool.
Think of it like scaffolding. You build scaffolding around a building to construct it, right?
Oh, yeah.
The scaffolding isn't the building itself, and eventually you tear it down, but you absolutely needed it to build the structure in the first place.
Wow, okay.
The goat and deer carts were just scaffolding.
So if we decode the metaphor, the father in the story is the Buddha.
Yes.
The burning house represents the three realms of our existence. A world that is just constantly burning with the fires of birth, aging, sickness, death, and worldly suffering.
And the oblivious kids. That's us.
Oof.
Yeah. We are the sentient beings trapped inside our own desires, completely distracted by our petty games and toys, totally ignoring the fact that the house is burning down around us.
The Buddha couldn't just drop ultimate cosmic wisdom on us from the beginning.
No.
If he told us the absolute, literal truth that all phenomena are empty, that our egos are illusions, we would just stare blankly or run the other way.
Oh, we would experience massive cognitive dissonance. Modern psychology actually calls this the backfire effect.
Oh, right.
When you can present someone with blunt facts that contradict their core worldview, they don't just change their mind, they double down on their original flawed belief.
They dig their heels in.
Exactly. And the Buddha understood the backfire effect thousands of years ago. So he used upaya.
Skillful means.
He offered 3 different spiritual paths represented by the goat, deer, and ox carts just to get people moving. He spoke to their immediate desires for peace, for self-improvement, for escaping their own personal suffering.
He used those lesser goals to motivate them out of the fire. But once they are safe, once their minds are clear and ready, he reveals that there was actually only one great vehicle all along.
The ultimate truth.
It is brilliant behavioral psychology. But to truly appreciate the urgency of this strategy, we have to look closer at the burning house itself.
Yeah. It's not pretty.
The source text doesn't just casually mention that it was getting a bit hot. It goes into some visceral, intensely gritty details about what is actually inside this structure.
Oh, the imagery is straight out of an ancient horror movie.
Literally. The text describes the rotting house as crawling with venomous snakes, centipedes, scorpions, and vipers.
Yeah.
It talks about flesh-eating demons, yakshas, fighting over corpses.
It's so dark.
There are wild dogs and foxes chewing on the dead, and owls and eagles swooping around in the thick smoke. It's an absolute nightmare of chaos and predation.
It is terrifying, but it's a deliberate metaphor.
Right.
It represents the toxic chaos of a life driven by blind consumption, petty conflicts, and unchecked desires.
The demons and the dogs.
The demons fighting over corpses, the wild dogs starving and attacking each other. These represent our endless greed, our social climbing, our willingness to tear each other apart over things that are ultimately decaying anyway.
Wow.
We live in this house, we participate in this grotesque cycle, and we call it playing. We think it's normal.
Think about your own life right now. What is that one toxic habit you refuse to let go of because you are too distracted playing with the immediate gratification of it? Maybe you have a friend in a terrible, draining relationship. Or they are just completely burning out at work, doom scrolling every night until 3 a.m. They're in a burning house.
And this is exactly where the strategy of skillful means becomes the ultimate communication hack.
Yes.
You can't pull people out of their personal burning houses by lecturing them on the grim reality. If you sit your friend down and say, hey, your entire life is a decaying structure of attachments and you are wasting your finite existence, what are they going to do?
They're going to get so defensive, they'll argue, or they'll just shut down completely. They'll basically run right back into the fire to avoid the discomfort of your lecture.
Truth without packaging is totally ineffective if the listener lacks the emotional or intellectual context to digest it.
Right.
To create real change, you have to find their goat cart. You must speak to their immediate, relatable desires to move them out of danger.
So instead of a grand, sweeping lecture on their toxic relationship, I might just say, hey, let's go spend the weekend at the beach, just you and me, get some fresh air.
Yes.
I offer them peace and a break. Something they immediately want. That's the goat cart. It gets them out of the house.
Exactly.
And once they have distance from the fire, once they are sitting in the open square, then they might have the clarity to see the bigger picture.
That is the essence of skillful means. You aren't lying to them maliciously. You are providing a temporary framework, a stepping stone, that aligns with where they are right now.
You're meeting them where they're at.
Meeting them at their level of understanding to guide them to safety.
It totally reframes how we think about honesty. Sometimes insisting on the blunt, absolute truth is actually just feeding our own ego.
Oh, completely.
It makes us feel superior because we get to be right, but it doesn't actually help the person we claim to care about.
The father in the story didn't care about being technically correct about the inventory of carts waiting outside.
He didn't care about the logistics.
He cared about saving his children, compassion was the goal, and the method was entirely flexible.
But this raises a terrifying question.
Okay?
What if the father's psychological trick fails? What if the kids reject the toys and refuse to leave?
Right.
Because the text doesn't shy away from this possibility. In fact, as you read further into the chapter, the tone shifts dramatically. The Buddha gives Shariputra a very heavy warning about what happens to those who stay behind.
Yes, the later verses of the chapter are incredibly intense.
Yeah.
The Buddha explicitly tells Shariputra not to share this specific teaching, this revelation of the one great vehicle, with just anyone.
Wait, really?
Yeah. He says not to teach it to the arrogant, the lazy, or those who are deeply attached to their superficial desires.
And the consequences for mocking or rejecting this teaching are brutal. I mean, the source material details an extreme spiritual blowback.
Their karmic warnings are severe. The text states that if someone arrogantly rejects, slanders, or mocks this teaching, they will spend countless eons in the deepest hells, specifically what is known as the Avicii hell.
The Avicii hell.
Yeah, the Avicii is this concept of the absolute lowest level of the hell realm, a place of uninterrupted suffering, and it doesn't stop there.
No. It says that when they are eventually reborn, they might become diseased wild dogs, or pack animals like camels and donkeys that are constantly beaten and burdened with heavy loads.
That's grim.
It describes them being reborn as deaf and blind snakes that are eaten alive by small insects. Or if they're reborn as humans, they will be plagued by extreme poverty, sickness, physical deformities, bad breath, and complete social rejection.
It's just a relentless catalog of suffering. They will be people who, even if they try to seek help, are constantly ignored or exploited. If they get sick, medicine will only make them worse.
Reading that initially, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Feels so out of character from the loving, compassionate father we were just analyzing. It sounds like a petty, vengeful God handing out punishments just because someone didn't read his book.
Yeah.
How do we reconcile this?
It is jarring, especially if you view it through a Western lens of, like, divine punishment.
Right, the guy in the sky with a lightning bolt.
Exactly. But to understand it, we have to look at the mechanism of karma in Buddhist philosophy. It's not a petty god meting out sentences. There is no judge in the sky keeping a ledger.
Okay.
Instead, this is a profound, albeit stark, explanation of cause and effect.
So it's not a punishment from above, it's a natural consequence of their own actions.
Precisely. Think back to the burning house.
Okay.
The teaching of the Lotus Sutra is the ultimate escape route from that house of horrors. If you actively mock the escape route, if you arrogantly slander the very method designed to save you from your own destructive ignorance, what is the natural result?
You stay in the house.
You stay in the house. You condemn yourself to remain in a reality filled with venomous snakes, flesh-eating demons, and flames.
Oh, wow.
The vivid descriptions of being a beaten donkey or a diseased dog aren't creative punishments ordered by the Buddha. They are literal psychological descriptions of what a life entirely consumed by ignorance, hatred, and blind desire feels like.
That reframes everything. If you are a pack animal carrying a massive burden, constantly being whipped, that maps perfectly to carrying the heavy burden of an unexamined ego.
Yes.
You are constantly ripped by your own endless desires and defensive reactions.
Exactly. If you reject the cure, you suffer the disease. If you are constantly attacking the people trying to help you, you isolate yourself. If you are so arrogant that you refuse to look at the bigger picture, you trap yourself in a cycle of your own petty reactions. It is a self-inflicted hell.
And that perfectly explains why the Buddha tells Shariputra to be careful who he shares this with.
Exactly.
This profound truth, that all our lesser paths are just delusions meant to guide us to a singular ultimate reality, is only meant for those who are genuinely curious, compassionate, and ready to listen.
Because if you drop this ultimate truth on someone who is violently unready, they will experience that backfire effect we talked about.
Right.
They will slander it out of defensive fear, accumulate negative karma, and drive themselves deeper into their own suffering. You have to protect the teaching and the listener by only offering what they can constructively handle.
This has been an incredible journey today.
It really has.
We started with Shariputra's existential relief, stepping out of his own deep-seated anxiety. We explored a massive, rotting mansion engulfed in flames, crawling with demons and oblivious children.
Quite the visual.
Right. And through it all, we uncovered this ancient, masterful psychological tool. The art of using a lesser, tailored truth, a goat cart, to save people from their immediate danger, so that they can eventually handle the ultimate reality.
It is a profound shift in perspective. It challenges us to elevate our empathy above our need to be right.
Yeah.
It demands that we understand the people around us deeply enough to know what will actually move them, rather than just shouting our blunt truth into a burning building.
I think we all have a little bit of the oblivious child in us, running around with our toys while the beams catch fire.
I know I do.
And hopefully, we all have the capacity to be the skillful father for someone else. The next time you're desperately trying to help someone see the error of their ways, stop trying to describe the flames. The flames will only panic them or make them defensive. Ask yourself, what is the cart they actually want? Offer them that, and you might just save them.
Finding that cart is the highest form of compassion.
But it leaves you with one final, lingering question to chew on.
Oh.
If this physical reality we live in is the burning house, and all our earthly desires, our goals, and our comforts are just the imaginary toys used to lure us out, what happens when we finally step through that gate?
That's the real question.
When all the illusions are stripped away and the scaffolding comes down, what does that open square actually look like? Thanks for exploring the depths with us today, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.